Good afternoon or good evening, everybody. Good afternoon if you're watching this the very next day, Wednesday afternoon if you are watching archived here on the channel, or just later tonight watching it archived on the channel. I mean, other other places. If you live in California, you definitely might be watching later in the evening when most people watch. I mean, it's late evening here where I live, so it's gonna be late evening somewhere else later on tonight. So definitely, fans of MTV Scream, thank you for joining me. Welcome to become a subscriber, a fan of my show, of course, but a subscriber of this channel. I do this each and every week. Usually I have a co-host. This week my co-host is unable to make it. He might be able to be in near the end of this episode just to say hi to everybody, but beyond that he won't be able to divulge about the episode because he was unable to watch the episode in its entirety, which is understandable. Busy life, other things. So I'll be spearheading this by myself, but usually I do have a co-host. I also wanted to give a shout out to AfterBuzz TV and specifically AfterBuzz TV After Show Baby Daddy. I love the show, and the show itself, Baby Daddy, has been renewed for season 6. I'm thinking about, and I don't know whether I'll do it or not, but I'm thinking about doing a review show of Baby Daddy for season 6, maybe. I know I was thinking about that for Modern Family, for Glee, back when Glee was on TV. Um, I would have done it for How I Met Your Mother if I was actually active on my YouTube channel at that time. Um, but Modern Family, Big Bang Theory, I was thinking about doing maybe for the final season as well. So I really want to get into that because I really want to show my power as a host and what I can do in that kind of way because I hope to, you know, not just prolong, but to extend my career as a broadcaster wherever I'm gonna go. And to be quite honest, my aspiration is with AfterBuzz TV. Specifically, I mean, other ones, we'll see, but specifically AfterBuzz TV because they have great content, a great leader, Maria Menounos, um, and others, not just her, but I'm just saying, special shout out. But seeing hosts on different shows, whether it's WWE SmackDown, WWE Raw, um, Patriots Wrap Up, Scream, MTV Scream themselves, they have a show on AfterBuzz TV here on YouTube, so definitely check them out and subscribe to their channel as well. But I've been talking with one of the hosts, or the main man, or the host, or one of the co-hosts of the After ABTV Baby Daddy episodes. So I really hope that he's able to watch this and others. Like I said, we'll see how that goes. But speaking of TV shows, and what an awesome TV show this is, MTV Scream here in the second season, I believe was renewed. And this episode here, episode 5, entitled Dawn of the Dead, and I apologize, I'm looking away because I'm looking at a screen with my notes. So if I'm looking away, not looking directly at you guys, again, I apologize ahead of time. But I'll probably be doing that most of the show because I have my notes over here. You know, behind the curtain kind of things. But anyways, great episode, interesting episode. I was worried that this episode with people being with this, watching the preview from the previous week at the end of of that episode, wondering that maybe this episode won't be as good. It won't be filled with secrets being spilled or big moments or actually prolonging. Like I was worried it could be a filler episode. And why would I worry that? It's a great show. They need to prolong things. It's a short season, just like a season 1, because that's the type of show it is. Fast paced, hits you fast. You gotta pay attention. You gotta watch every scene because, as I've said in the past episodes here, and welcome to check out this whole entire series on my channel, review and theories of MTV Scream. But you gotta watch for the little things. Whether it's the little things being said, eye contact, those nonverbals, things that you might think are nothing but are something. Also going back to season 1, thinking a little bit of that, looking into that, because what we're trying to find out is the accomplice of the season 1 killer, right? And we're trying to, even though there are new killings and new situations going on with new characters part of this season, all in all, we're trying to again find out the accomplice, and to do so, should watch MTV Scream the first season, which you can find on Netflix, by the way. You can watch all of season 1. And in some countries, you can actually watch up to date the new episodes. For some reason, here in the United States, I don't see it being able to watch new episodes on Netflix. Someone let me know if I'm wrong about that. But from my Netflix account here in the Badger State here in Wisconsin, unable to view those, with the new episodes. But either way, like I said, watch those episodes. Watch the entire season one if you want to binge watch, because I think there's going to be things in those episodes in that season that you thought, again, just like here in this season, that you might not have thought was something, is something, and something that is thought that you thought was something then or now is nothing. That's how it works. It makes your mind work. You gotta think deep, think hard, um, and try to, piece, piece this puzzle together. As I talk about, I do love to do puzzles. I'm actually just finished one, and I'm just gonna start a new one here on my long train of puzzles that I own, and I like doing that as a stress reliever and for fun. But talking about puzzles and how that works for this kind of TV show, as amateur sleuths, as amateur, the whatevers in TV show, and finding out and our own thesis, our own theories, whether it's me or other YouTubers or the the host of the AfterBuzz TV MTV Scream show, and their own theories and thoughts, which would love to have any of them on my show. I know I'm a I was gonna say a jabroni show. I'm a small show. I only have 60 subscribers, but like I say that all the time, if I had my own either studio or camera, that could be a game changer. But the point is, I would love to have one of those, people, or all of them. Obviously, that'd be ideal. But if not any of them, to be part of my, I guess you can. It's kind of, I don't know. I was gonna say I guess you could call it an after show since I do it. I go live at least maybe 2 minutes right after the show ends, or at the very latest 10 minutes after the show ends. So either right straight away or give a little bit of lead time, however I dictate to do so. So would love to have one of those great people on the show with me and my co-host Jay of Talking WWE with Jay. By the way, you can find him on Twitter at Talking WWE with just the letter J, and his channel Talking WWE with Jay here on YouTube. Just search in the search bar on the top here on YouTube.com. I just wanted to get that out there since he is unable to be on the show to promote his stuff. But anyways, into the show, into this episode. Again, it's called Dawn of the Dead, Season 2, Episode 5. We start off with a recap of what happened in the last episode, with Jake's body being discovered. And after this, the sheriff comes in. He puts the school on lockdown. And then, talking back and forth to students and the sheriff, talking about, who he would want or who he thinks it could be, and interrogating everybody and interviewing and finding out things, and really kind of the things that the sheriff's doing in this episode really makes me kind of suspicious of him, or actually really suspicious of him, even more so of some of the other ones that have been in my top 5 in my suspect list for the last couple of weeks. Now, I've always kept saying Kieran, but maybe that might need to change. Maybe there's something there with that sheriff. He's very a conniving kind of character, kind of plays by his own rules. But then again, he's supposed to uphold the law as the sheriff of town. So, we'll see how that economy works. But he definitely might crack into my top 5 on suspect list when I get to that point here in this episode. But the Emma, well, let's see here. Here's my notes here. Most of the kids being relegated to the library. Aubrey and Brooke are in the showers. Because Emma, or not Emma, but so that happened. Kieran has a phone in his position to think maybe he is it, and then his weapon being found, and then kind of the sheriff kind of trying to blackmail Kieran, and you either do this or you'll have to go to jail or something. Being locked up for having possession of a firearm in school, or to that extent. So a lot of interesting things going on. Noah and his situation, but I think the biggest thing out of this whole thing is Stavro, and Audrey at the academy. Stavro, he was kind of on my radar, but I thought he was just that's just his personality. He is that sort of thinker, and it was his drawings and everything is more just into a fantasy world in his own mind than actually being, a sociopath kind of killer person. I always thought that's how it is, and they kind of explained this here in this episode, at least to me. Now, it could try to be throwing me off, or people like me off with that kind of thinking, but Stavro being misunderstood because when Audrey kind of calls him out there in the photos and shows it to everybody, he really gets defensive in a different way, not in the defensive way that you would think someone of what we're trying to find out, who was the accomplice, of a killer be, but of a scared, what the heck's going on, sort of thing as well. She knows people are going to misunderstand what he's doing, why he's doing it. Unfortunately, the timing of doing it, all this other stuff, it's just him. But, he thought, and here's just me thinking, forward thinking that maybe he just thought that him and Audrey were just having a playful back and forth, even though, yeah, it could border on being weird or creepy, but to him, in his mind, him just, just playing with him, playing with her. And as much as I really want to think that he could be one of the suspects, that he could be the one, I just from what this episode and specifically that scene makes me think otherwise. Makes me think that, who's more capable of the murders, him or his father, the sheriff? I would say the sheriff. The sheriff definitely is looking more guilty in my eyes than even him. But as the moniker goes for this season, trust no one, and everyone's a suspect. You still have to keep your eyes on him, keep your eyes on all the characters, even the secondary characters, because you never know. It could even be that teacher, a female teacher that put Emma in a room by herself, locked the door, and left, already knowing the situation she was in and what could have happened, whether it was a panic attack or otherwise, or hallucinations and whatever other stuff that could have happened, and obviously what ended up happening. Why would you do that? Being her profession, being a teacher, she should have known that she should have just stayed there with her. Would have been best for the situation, best for Emma. And is that what you're supposed to do in school? You're supposed to make it most comfortable for the students and for, specifically in that situation, Emma. So she definitely is a true suspect in my eyes. They all are. Because you never know when we get to first we got the mid-season finale at some point, then we're going to have the season 2 finale, finding out who it is. You never know, the reveal could be somebody that, again, was right under your nose the whole time. Even as Audrey stated there in the episode, Piper was under our nose the whole time, but we never suspected her. I know I am my episodes, and you can go back to confirm this, but I don't think I had Piper ever in my top 5 there in the latter parts of the first season when she was part of the show, of course. So she flew under my radar. So maybe this teacher definitely could be something that you're watching out for. But then again, that's also making you think. Are they doing that to make you think that because of what happened before, which then could also then just, teasing you or playing you or gonna have a swerve, as we call it in WWE, a swerve, something out of nowhere, something else happened, being the chance, and them just, I don't know, making you think something that is not going to be the case, and then when we get to the end, you'll be like, oh crap, why didn't we think of this first? But a lot of crazy things going on in this episode, a lot of intrigue. I mean, it wasn't as powerful as most episodes are. It is, I guess, an extent with all the other episodes, I would call it somewhat of a filler episode, but it still was a very good episode, and we still learned some things. I'm pretty sure we did learn some things, especially about Stavros and the sheriff, above any other characters. I mean, we see Emma's mom a little bit there, doing her job and everything, but the sheriff and his tactics in this episode, which I would love to dive into, but unfortunately I don't have my co-host here to dive into them with. And I'll say that for next week's episode, because in the beginning of next week's episode, he'll be part of it, and then I'll let him talk about his thoughts from this episode in that podcast episode. So that's why I'm holding that off till then. But great episode, obviously. Yeah, 10. Giving it a rating. My top 5, I think, they're probably going to be around the same. As I look at my notes here, I have number 1, Kieran. Number 2, Eli. Emma's dad's still in the mix. Number 3. And I think for this week I'm going to take Brooke out. And I'll put the sheriff in as my top 4. And on number 5. I think she's always going to be on the list, just because it always makes it seem that she is the one. But I just don't feel strong enough to put her any higher than that, at least for right now. We'll see what bombshells happen when we get to the mid-season finale, because sometimes the mid-season finale could be even better than the season finale, even though the season finale is where you find out who's the killer, but you never know. Especially with this season and how things are going and how things have been written and been done. It's going to make it for really interesting as we get to that point. But again, I apologize for this short episode. I did want to at least get my thoughts on this episode. Next week, when Jay is part of the episode on the top of the show, I'll have him share his thoughts of this episode, of course, episode 5, right before we get into our thoughts on that episode 6 of season 2 of MTV Scream. But I think everybody that watched watched live, of course, watching live, and those that will be watching archives, share this, let other people know about my show. Like I said, it's trying to grow a fan base to be able to talk with many, not just growing to wanting to become popular, but growing to want to then invite others and let others be part of the conversation. I wouldn't mind if I had this whole hangout full of people that want to talk about the MTV Scream show and their thoughts, theories, their top 5 suspects. I mean, I know people can do that in the comments section below this video and any other review video of mine, but it's also nice to talk with people one-on-one as well, live, to hear their thoughts, their theories. So definitely welcome to subscribe, because if you are a subscriber, you'll be first and you're notified in an email form. Your notified email form when I go live with an episode, whether it's this one or any other thing I do with my channel. But if you're specifically subscribing for the MTV Scream reviews, you'll obviously know when those come up and can disregard all the other ones if you choose to do so. So that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you all have a great rest of your week, the rest of your evening as well. Stay safe, have fun, and as always, take care.